Last episode was all about squeezing our huge boat through a very narrow channel and taking the boat out of the water not 1 but 6 times. Now that we are finally on the hard, we have no time to spare because there are a lot of things that need to be done and we have planned to spend just 1 week in the yard. So the question is, will we manage to stay within this very tight time frame?
Hello, it is so good to see you again. This time the hull gets pressure washed and we will finally find out in which condition the ship actually is. And since we are on a very tight budget, both money and time-wise, we cannot just lay back and watch the guys from the yard do all the work. We have to start with our own projects from the very first day. And the first project will be to get rid of all the insulation inside our former guest cabin. Because first of all, we want to know in which condition the hull there is, and second, there is a strengthening bar on the outside and the yard needs to do some welding there. And when you weld, it is always better to remove the insulation on the inside because it might catch fire.
Hi, we are Daniel and Barbara. The last years we spent sail racing against the best sailors in the world. Then we decided it is time for a new chapter in life and bought a huge historic ship. And now we are in for a very long project and on a mission to convert this neglected steelboat back into the beautiful sailing ship she once was. Finally, the time has come to take her out of the water and start restoring the hull. So join us on this journey and welcome to the Shipyard series.
Last time we got a lot of comments about the condition of the hull, and most of you thought that she was actually in much better condition than expected. And that's exactly what we thought, and it is exactly what the yard thought. Not too much growth, the anodes were still there but had worked, and no obvious holes. So there should be no big surprises for us after the pressure wash, and we started right away with our first shipyard task. Right now the yard is pressure washing our ship, so we used this time to get rid of the insulation of our guest cabin. We already removed all the interior of this cabin because we thought there was a leak. If you want to know more about it, check out this video. And now we want to remove all the insulation to get a better look at the hull to see how badly corroded it actually is.
How are you?
It's horrible. Because the isolation is really stuck in there. It is not really moving, it's not coming out. And I have to be really careful, otherwise it's just disintegrating, but it's not coming out in whole pieces. And it's hot, and I'm sweating, and the mask is really uncomfortable. Yeah, I hope I'm done soon.
Looks great.
Yeah.
While Barbara can't wait to continue with the lovely job of pulling out the disintegrating cork insulation, I made my way down the ladder and had a first glance at the pressure-washed hull.
Every day is a struggle. Every day is a trial. Every day is a failure. I have to walk another mile. I'll go wherever you go. Every day is a heartbeat. Every day another moan. Every day is a gallows. I can feel it in the bone. I'm alone. Take me home. As you make the bed, so you must lie.
That doesn't look good at all. So let's move up again and join Barbara, who still thinks the biggest problem is how to remove the insulation in one cabin.
Wow, that's exhausting. It's so hot in this suit and I'm not done yet. But the good news is that the hull looks a lot better than we expected.
Should I tell you that we have a hole in the hull?
Oh no! Where? Not really. Just one? What you've just seen is a very severe electrolysis damage. That means we have small pittings all over the hull. When we took the boat out of the water, we expected to find many things. Leaking rivets, thin blades that need replacement, or even tiny holes. But we never thought about electrolysis. First of all, because it is such a well-known problem nowadays and easy to prohibit, so we thought it wouldn't be an issue. Second, she was moored in fresh water, and third, she was never connected to shore power. So all this reduces the risk of electrolysis. However, we have it now and it is really frustrating and really annoying because it is so unnecessary and it would have been so easy to avoid it. You see, we are facing a huge challenge. So it would really help if this video reaches as many people as possible. And if you want to help us, please leave a like. But what are we going to do about all of this? Well, first of all, the good news is we can repair this damage. So the yard needs to weld all the pittings. And that means it will take a lot of time and that means it will be very expensive. The next thing we need to do is we want to check the thickness of the hull because of all the damage and make sure that it is still fine. And then there are a lot of jobs we need to do. The first one is remove the interior of the saloon. Then we need to remove the interior of the forecastle and the interior underneath our secret hatch. The next step is to remove the cork insulation in the saloon, the stone wall insulation in the forecastle, and hopefully no insulation underneath our secret hatch. Since we have to remove all the interior, we also have to remove our horrible galley. If you want to know more about it, check out this video. And therefore we need to build a new improvised galley. And when the yard is done with all the welding, we need to clean up all the welds and then repaint all the welds. So at this point it is quite obvious that we won't make it back into the water within 1 week. It will take much longer. But before we continue, let's have a look around at the other boats in the yard and watch the guys working there while we are a bit procrastinating. Since we have to remove all the insulation in the hull, we need a temporary galley. And this time we hope it will be really temporary, so we will not build what we planned before because it has to be fast. We want to build a worktop right here for the oven and the water boiler and some other stuff for cooking. And therefore we will take some plywood that we already took out from the boat and install it right here, and that's it.
Thin. As thin as possible.
Yeah. Before I put everything in place, let me show you how much we lean backwards.
So we found out that we have electrolysis. But what does that actually mean? Well, first of all, corrosion is a quite complex topic, and I'm pretty sure there will be some really interesting answers in the comment sections. And if you're really interested in this topic, I can recommend you this book here, and I will put a link in the description down below. But what it basically means is that there was some form of stray current or unwanted electrical current flow within the hull, and it corroded away the hull at some spots in a very short time. Also, corrosion is a quite complex topic, and each form of corrosion has its own name. The problem we are facing now is commonly known as electrolysis, and that's close enough, so we want to stick with this name for now. The more important question is, how could that happen on our ship? And the first explanation we have is that there was a mix of old zinc anodes and new aluminium anodes on the hull. The previous owner thought it's a good idea to leave the old zinc anodes in place and just put new aluminium anodes on. And what happened then is that the old zincs were quickly used up, and in the meantime the new aluminium anodes pacified. So that means that there was basically no electric protection to our ship for the last 3 or 4 years. She probably was connected to a second ship, and that also could mean that there is nothing wrong with our ship, but it could mean that there is something wrong with the electric system of the other ship, and since they were connected together, that's a possible explanation. And the last explanation we have is that we do know now that there already was an electrolysis damage when she was taken out in 2018, and after that the previous owner redid the electric system, but unfortunately he spared a few bucks and didn't measure the new electric system for stray current, so there could be a stray current in the 220 volt system. We already remeasured the 24 volt system and that's fine, but we still have to measure the 220 volt system just to be sure. And it's really frustrating because it would have been so easily avoided. Just measure the electric system, just put an isolation transformer in place, and just be careful, it's a steel hull. An electrical test costs about 200 euro if done by a professional, and this saved 200 bucks will cost us about 5,000 euros. So well done, really. Not good.
To sum up, instead of repainting here and there and have some jobs done by the yard, we are now facing a huge electrolysis treatment and have to stay on the heart for quite a while. So much more shipyard videos for you. If you don't want to miss them, then make sure to subscribe. And on this terrible disappointment for us, who really thought 1 week on the heart is enough, it is time to end. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.